Hey guys, how's it going? We're gonna be doing a little bit more planting today. I've got a gator full of beautiful things. 2 different types of evergreen here, an ornamental grass, and a yellow twig dogwood. The last couple of times I've been out planting, I've been focusing heavily on plants that provide some winter interest, because I know as we go into fall, we're gonna get closer and closer to those days where the perennials that are looking so fabulous right now will not be looking quite as fabulous. And I want to have those bone structure plants, those winter interest plants out there that we can rely on to look so pretty, even when there's snow on the ground, frost, just in those off months. We've got 2 Spartan Junipers here. Those are the dark green ones, zone 4 through 9. They grow 15 feet tall by about 5 to 6 feet wide. And they're really good for shaping, which these 2, where they're gonna be going, I'm gonna wanna keep them in a kind of a tight conical shape. And most of the time, those topiaries, you see the spirals, the double-decker, like lollipops, those sorts of things. Oftentimes they are Spartan Junipers because they take to trimming so well. They're just a very easy maintenance plant in our area. They are native. I mean, this big old tree right here, this is a juniper that's, I don't even know how many decades old. And I can see, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there are bees just like going nuts in that tree right now. What in the world? I've never noticed that before. And then we've got one that's a little bit more tender in our area. This is a blue Korean cedar. They grow 20 by 15, zone 4. It's got this really interesting color, especially when you get it up next to this green one. You can see how much more blue it is. Very drapey, kind of soft evergreen. It does benefit from a little bit of protection from the afternoon sun in hot climates, which we do have. So I'm gonna try to put it somewhere where I know the roots will stay a little cooler and where it might get a little bit more protection. I've never planted this particular variety though, so this is gonna be an experiment. This is one of the ones that came in the Isley load earlier this summer. And for our ornamental grass, I've got 5 of these. These are a northern sea oats. Look at the beautiful oat seed heads that they produce. And these just get loaded with them. They get about 3 feet tall, 2 feet wide. It's a very kind of tidy grass. I grew these in our last garden in the townhouse. I remember doing, it was either a video or a picture post or something like that, where I tied it, you know, in a bundle to cut it back and just showed how easy it would be. And it is really easy with this grass in particular because it just kind of keeps its form really nicely. I didn't have any problems with it popping up everywhere or spreading. It just kind of like clumped out a little bit. I occasionally would have like a little plant start next to it, easy to pull, but it never spread. And I don't even know if that's an issue with this type of grass. I haven't heard of anybody complain anyway. This grass is a zone 4 through 9, and it does like to be kept in an area that kind of keeps more moist soil, and I've got the perfect location, I think, for this one. In fact, I think I might put all 5 of them together in a sort of drift or a clump so that we get some huge impact from it. And then the last thing we have back here, this is the Buds Yellow Tatarian Dogwood. Grows 8 by 8, hardy to zone 2. It does get some whitish to lime green spring flowers, and then these branches will turn bright yellow in the wintertime. You can kind of see that there on the tag. And I do have some Arctic Fire yellow dogwoods out here on one side of the south garden. So I thought that this one, and they don't get quite as big as this one does, so I thought just putting this single one out kind of by itself on the other side might be kind of nice. So that's the lineup for today. I'm really excited about it, you guys, because it's kind of like planting fall bulbs, but more satisfying. You know, planting fall bulbs, you're always so thankful that you did it. It's kind of like focusing in on the winter interest stuff. Here in a few months, I'm gonna be looking at these things thinking, I'm so happy we prioritized planting these this year because they look so pretty when everything else looks kind of drab. I do have my shovels back here, auger, biotone starter fertilizer, and that's all we're gonna need. And it's about 85 degrees out here today. It's really pleasant. It looks like we might heat back up just a little bit into the mid 90s for just a couple of days, and then we're gonna go back down into the low 80s for the week after. So anyway, I think we're trending downward on the thermometer. Yay. But real quick, look at those. Oh, they look so good. Superbena, Sparkling Amethyst, Supertunia Vista Jazzberry, the Carolee Petite Pink Gara as a centerpiece, and there is a Supertunia Raspberry Rush in there, the one that's striped. And then, okay, I'm sorry, I just gotta show you real quick. We cut this back in a video not long ago. We just hacked back these Superbena because it was looking a little flushed out, and they're coming back beautifully. And I think in that video we planted the bachelor's buttons, which are blooming now. We also planted these sunflowers, which are growing beautifully, and there's big buds. We planted the cucumbers, which they're clearly loving their life. Oh, look at these. Oh, they're so cute. There's gotta be ones bigger than that in here. Oh, I see a ton of tiny ones. No big ones yet. We planted the cosmos, and then a little bit earlier than that, We did plant these cantaloupe. These are the Tuscany melons. And they are looking amazing. Almost ready. But look at them, even from behind. They're just gobbling up the fence. And we haven't done any trimming on these at all. They just look good all the time. Oh, have you come to help me dig holes?
I have come.
Oh, very nice. I actually want your opinion on where these junipers are gonna go.
Okay.
I think they're gonna look,
Opinions.
I know you do, but I would like it in this case.
Here. And right here.
It's like you've been married to me for 16 years.
I know.
What do you think? You like that idea?
That's a great idea.
So no room for pots. I don't really want to do pots, or possibly an arbor one day, but having some really stiff structure.
Yeah.
That's not the right word, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so these two then, right down here. And we need to make sure that we've got them at least 3 feet away from the pathway on either side and away from the driveway, considering that we do intend on brick lining this whole thing. I'm so glad you're out here, Erin. Those are heavy. I just loaded those up. Anyway, one day we do plan on lining this whole thing with bricks, right up to where the rocks are, so that there's a clear line between, you know, rocks and mulch, but it's just something that will happen one of these days. Oh, I like it. I like it a lot. That's nice. You know what I like about this placement is that we could put an arbor here if we decided to, and it would look nice to have these kind of flanking behind. All right, guys, we are gonna dig some holes, get these planted, and then we'll plant the rest of the stuff, and then bring you along for a tour. all of the planting done. I absolutely love these junipers right here. Oh, they look so pretty right here. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that this one might be bumped back from the gravel a little bit further than this one. We probably should have measured. In the end, it won't matter because we're going to be pruning them. You know, in the end, I want them to be about like this and then kind of come up into a nice point on either side. But for a while, it'll matter and it'll drive me crazy. So I'm going to measure just to make sure, and we'll either bump this one forward a few inches or bump that one back a few inches. But they look so pretty. I think it's the perfect thing. Look at it from this angle. Oh. And that quickfire will get nice and sizable. We've got a lilac on this side. But having that unified structure right here, I think is so helpful. We've got to do that every once in a while in this space since we're planting it so haphazardly. I mean, you guys know we have absolutely zero plan for this, this area. We went into it with a very rough sketch of just where we wanted the grass pathways to be, but nothing else. So we're just kind of putting things in as we feel like putting them in. It's really fun to do it that way when you just have complete freedom to put things wherever you want out here. It's nice to not have the rigidity, is that a word? but we don't have a plan we have to adhere to, which is really nice. Not that you ever have to adhere to a plan, but sometimes when you do have one, it's really hard to veer from it. So this is very, very nice. The next couple ended up on the other side. And let me tell you what, you guys, some of you have said that Truffula Pink Gumfrina doesn't smell to you, but it smells to me. It's in the air over here. Not a good smell. Ugh. Pretty plant, not a good smell. Oh, look at this. Oh, it's so pretty right now. Okay, right here, the cedar. I love it right here. Now, it will get 15 feet wide. I think it grows, it said like 12 to 15 inches a year or so. So it won't take too awful long. So if it gets 15 feet wide, I think it's gonna be, about out to here and then about to where, not quite to where the Russian sage is here. So it'll fill in this area beautifully. And I like the structure of this one with the weight of the Serbian spruce right behind it. And then we've got the flame willows and we've got a weeping white spruce right here, which this one won't get much wider than this. This is just a very tall, very narrow evergreen. Amazing, I love this one. But I love having that fluff right there. So pretty. And the yellow twig dogwood ended up not very much further away. Right in the back of this flower bed right here. See it back there? And that will get 8 by 8. So we've got the black lace elderberry right to the left of it, which won't get too much bigger than that. And then we do have a shade master honey locust. So it's a little bit, you have to consider what you're planting underneath it. While honey locust trees don't provide deep shade, they still provide shade. And dogwoods happen to be one of the most shade tolerant shrubs that exist. So I know that of all the things that are in this area, that will be one that will probably do the transition from sun right now to eventual shade when this tree gets bigger. A lot of this other stuff, buddleias, we've got a pine right there that might be all right because it's going to be toward maybe the edge-ish. But echinacea, all this stuff will probably have to be moved. But it'll be quite a long time till I have to even consider doing that. But that's the thing, when you're starting brand new garden spaces, you have to just plant them for full sun, even though you have all the trees in there that are going to provide the shade eventually. But it takes a while to get it there. So it's just a transition period where you get to enjoy it as a sun garden for a while, and then it eventually turns into a shadier garden. I love it back there though. I think having that bright pop of yellow is going to be beautiful. And the flame willows, so we've got 3 in this space. There's one there, the one we already looked at, and then there's one just beyond that, and they have just fiery red stems in the wintertime. Their color isn't as vibrant as it will be, but you can kind of see where it's heading. Over here, oh my gosh, we've got to tame the beast. As soon as it colors up and we get to enjoy the fall show on this tiger eye sumac, we're gonna come in and go for it. Because I'm pretty sure we're shrouding out some stuff we planted. Yes, we are. Oh, there's my little Norway spruce in there. Okay, maybe I'll come in here and do that like tomorrow and clean up at least the edges to free this up so that our echinacea can survive. This is year 3 for that sumac, and that's the year that it took off. First year it sat there, second year it sat there. This year it's like loving its life. Maybe it's all the extra moisture we've gotten this year, because that variety in particular of sumac hasn't been a problem. Like, it spreads, and I knew that it spreads, but it typically doesn't spread like the older varieties of sumac, but it's sure acting like it wants to be like one of those right now. Okay, the last thing are the northern sea oats, which I put by the pond. All right, so here are the grasses. Kind of tucked them in on the back side of this berm right here around these rocks. They are also more shade tolerant. So as this red oak right here grows and fills in and hopefully overcomes the scorch that it endured on its ride over here, these should be okay. So they can transition from the sun to more shade. And I think that this is going to be really pretty because you really see them more from this side more than anything else, because this is where the pathway is. So they will come up and kind of fill in and make a little bank of grass right back there. Some of the fish are close. Oh, the high-fin banded shark is right up here. The fish seem so peaceful right now. Usually when I come up to the edge, like, they're getting a little bit more used to me, but they usually take off pretty fast. So I'm gonna go grab some food. See if I can chum them in a little bit.